Happy Wednesday night and welcome to A Look on the Plus Side. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. It's the Park Adventurers Club. We do lots of cool things. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end, and also give it a like as it helps people to find us. And tonight we're going to be talking about a good dinosaur, not the good dinosaur. We're going to be talking about the good dinosaur movie called Dinosaur that came out in 2000, Disney's Dinosaur. And with me to talk about dinosaurs is my dinosaur expert, and Lordy, what's going on with you, man? What are you up to?
Thanks for having me, Rob.
It's Charlie, folks. I mean, I can't really tell because of the mask, but dude, why do you do this to me?
This is what gets me through the day, just planning out how to throw a wrench in the works.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if he's doing the entire show like this, but you know what? You are our dinosaur expert, man. You have dinosaur credentials. You and I were going to talk about, we talked about Ice Age, and I was wearing this shirt, which is my dinosaur shirt, and you were like, dude, this is not dinosaurs. This is a completely different thing. The Ice Age is not dinosaurs. And so you put me in my place, and now you're coming back to actually talk about dinosaurs. Are you excited?
I am. I'm excited. So a little bit of background. I will take this off. A little bit of background about me. I'm a paleontologist. I have a degree in archaeology, and I worked as a paleontologist. My specialty is Ice Age big animals, Ice Age big mammals, and so when we did the Ice Age one, it was like that was my wheelhouse. I could talk about all that off the top of my head. Dinosaurs, I know from school. I've been on a dinosaur dig with the Natural History Museum, and I've consulted here and there, but it's not my wheelhouse the same way as Ice Age big animals is. So I was excited to come back into this and do some of the research and look at what these dinosaurs are. There's a lot of stuff I could pull out as I was watching it. I was like, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong, whatever. Some things they did well, some things they did not so well. But to really do a deep dive on all of these different species and the way they interacted and everything was a lot of fun for me.
So this is the one we're talking about. It's Disney's Dinosaur. It came out in the year 2000. And the reason we're talking about this one is that the Dino Land in Disney's Animal Kingdom just closed, and they finally closed the last vestiges of Dino Land, which were the Restaurantosaurus and the dinosaur ride. And I don't know if everybody who has been on that ride knows that there was a movie that inspired it. I know a lot of people who are Disney Parks fans are like, IP, blah, blah, blah. But like this was one where the IP and the attraction coexisted in their early beginnings, in their creation. It was part of Eisner's dream, I think, to put them together, and there was a lot of cross-promotion, and the movie was inspiring the ride, and the ride was inspiring the movie, and then it finally opened up, and I don't know that a lot of people know that that's a thing, but you were just there for the closing.
Yeah, I wasn't there to say goodbye. I was there the day afterwards because I wanted to avoid the crowds, and I have a 5-year-old who is going to be absolutely terrified by the ride. So I did hear that the wait times got up to 2-3 hours, and it was cold that day. We woke up to 23 degrees in Florida, and people were standing outside in the 20s and 30s waiting to say goodbye for 2 or 3 hours in line to get in there. So, I mean, it has a lot of fans. It has a very dedicated fan base. And I was there the day after, and literally the next morning they put like a big old funeral shroud over the Dino Land thing. The walls were up. That was it. They were done.
They don't mess around, man. When it's closed, they're ready. This Sunday on our park show, the Park Adventurers Club, you're going to come back and we're going to talk about Dino Land, its history, its legacy, and say goodbye with all of our memories of it. So everybody come back on Sunday night and talk with us about Dino Land. And so we'll talk a little bit more about the attraction maybe at the end here, but I want to focus on the movie itself. Let's put up our movie stat board. This movie is a runtime of 1 hour and 26 minutes. It says 1 hour 22 some places. I think that the credits start at 1:15, an hour and 15 minutes. The release date was May 19th, 2000, rated PG. It had a box office of $349 million. and a budget of 127.5, and it was made by Disney. And the thing about this one is it was a computer generated movie in a list of like short-lived computer generated before they tried to get back to hand drawn and then gave up forever. And now everything is computer generated. But it was a big deal at the time that it was computer generated. Did you go see it in the theater because you were a dino guy? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. And when it came out, I was like maybe 10 or 11, somewhere in there. And I remember as a kid, I didn't like this movie because I was like, excuse me, iguanodons were not from the late Cretaceous when the asteroid hit, and lemurs didn't evolve until way later and all this stuff. I had all kinds of problems with it. And at 11, I was like, I know better and I don't need to like this movie. So I haven't seen it since 2000. And coming back to it as an adult, like, I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to. I remember being very put off by it in 2000, and this was actually pretty good.
So what you're telling me is you were beat up a lot as a kid? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, constantly. Lots of rocks being thrown my way for no reason.
Yeah. God, man, there's so much I want to talk about with this, but let's start with just the kind of vibe at the time. This was in 2000. I don't know if your whole family was like ready for Armageddon and the whole Y2K thing, but this was this was in the year 2000 when everybody's like, oh, okay, well, we dodged that bullet.
We already made it.
There are 3 movies when you go to Disney Plus, 3 animated features listed as having been released in the year 2000. One of them is a bold-faced lie because it says that's this movie, and then I believe it's Emperor's New Groove, which is true. And then Fantasia 2000, which is not true because Fantasia 2000 released in December of 1999.
Yeah.
But Disney Plus is trying to feed you a lie and say that it came out in 2000. Don't believe the lie. Snow White has a lot of that too because it came out in December. Sometimes they say 1937, sometimes they say 1938, whatever fits their needs.
Yeah.
But it's funny that there was so much Disney in this year. Looking down the list, 102 Dalmatians, the Glenn Close sequel, the live action was there. Remember the Titans was there. The Little Mermaid, Return to the Sea, and the Tigger movie, like direct to DVD movies came out
direct
that
to
year.
Video.
So, yeah, an extremely goofy movie was that year. Air Bud World Pup, Angels in the Infield, which was the sequel, I believe, to Angels in the Outfield. Alley Cat Strike was on Disney, the DCOM movie. So there was a lot of Disney that was coming out in 2000. And this one was one that I feel like, again, because of the synergy of the company, they were really kind of all in, and also kind of the technology, because we were looking in the past at movies like Tron, where it's like we're introducing the idea of computer generated, things, and then movies like Beauty and the Beast, they use backgrounds that were computer generated. This one kind of did the opposite, though. When I'm watching it originally, and here I'm like, wait a minute, what's real and what's not? Because some of this is actually real backgrounds with CGI dinosaurs on top of it, which I think at the time I felt like Disney was trying to sell me on the fact that it was all CGI. It's not all computer. It's actual backgrounds and things with CGI dinosaurs put on top of it. And sometimes that's pretty cool. Like when the one dinosaur runs across the log and it kind of bounces a little bit, like stuff like that, I think is pretty cool. Thoughts on any of that?
So I did a deep dive on the making of Dinosaur and all the ridiculous stories of trying to get it made. It started, I don't know if you're going to cover this, I don't want to step on your toes, but it started in the late 80s with Phil Tippett, who is just a master of maquette puppetry and stop motion animation. And he said, I think I want to do a dinosaur film. And so they came up with a treatment and pitched it to Disney, and Disney said yes, except we want the dinosaurs to talk and sing. And what he pitched, the original concept for it, was so cool. And then just watching it get picked apart by executives over the years and years and years to get it done. And then they finally got to, all right, we're going to make it. But now it's because, oh, Jurassic Park did really well, so we have to do it this way. And we have to do this because of Land Before Time. And we have to do that because of Walking with Dinosaurs. And like, this movie could have been like an animation experiment, almost like Fantasia, of like, this is something that would have lasted generations, just for what a cool concept of what they had originally. And then it just got pulled apart and corporatized and forced into CGI, and they gave lips to the dinosaurs and all this weird stuff that happened. And then when they were like, oh, we've got all of this stuff done, we're greenlighting it at it was the most expensive animated movie to the time, when it came out. But then they were like, wow, we've spent a lot of money. Let's start scaling back. So that's why they went for the live action backgrounds, because it was easier and cheaper to shoot live action than to have to do all the rendering power to do, full sets as well. Because doing one character that you can move through the space is way less work than rendering out all those little rocks and trees and having to paint the entire world around him. So as I understand it, it was for a budgetary concern, but it came out looking pretty good. It's a really unique look, and it's what BBC did for Walking with Dinosaurs. I think it worked.
Yeah, honestly, again, I don't know if I felt like cheated or or what, but like, again, when you see some of the flora and fauna, and like, this guy's obviously in front of fake stuff, real tree, things like that. I think it would have been really hard to do, but it made it look like, wow, this is a really good this is a really good movie, because it has all of this, like, the real or like the dinosaurs on top of the, I was gonna say real dinosaurs, the dinosaurs who are fake on top of the real backgrounds, the real sky, real things like that. You're right. It does make sense that, like, hey, if you can just do this real, as opposed to like Jon Favreau, when he did the Jungle Book, did the opposite. Like, he made fake real. Like, he was like, we could have shot this in the jungle, and we did some of it, but then we went back on what do they call that thing?
Like a mocap stage?
Yeah.
Or a green screen volume?
The volume is what he calls it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they went back and did that kind of stuff like they do. And yeah, it's really funny. I actually have, this one, I mean, I think we could go on and on forever and ever, but I do want to talk about the dinosaur stuff about it, and then also the movie and the history of itself. But I do want to share this with you. I have this, which is a 2-disc
It's
version.
a collector's edition.
Yeah, look at that. How about that, huh?
And I bet you got your Disney movie rewards points for that one too.
No, I'm not really sure if I did, but I was pretty crazy into the Disney rewards stuff. But this one has just a ton of, like, of test screens and things like that on it. And I would have loved to have, like, really done a deep dive on this one, but I think I would have gotten lost for a week in all of the content. I love extras. I love stuff like this. I used to buy, like, the collector's edition of all this kind of stuff and
to
have
get
it.
The special features.
Yeah, and the special features are really cool. Yeah. But I did look back a little bit, like you were talking about at the top, about how it was supposed to be stop action, and so many changes happened over the period of trying to get this thing made and get it out, that it finally is, the piece that we see here is just computer generated on top of real backgrounds, which is an interesting way to do it, and probably made it look a lot better than other things that were done computer generated at the time. Let's talk about something else. This came out in 2000. Something else came out in 1993 with Jurassic Park. So it's like dinosaurs were done at that point. And it actually affected this movie, because apparently they felt like that the T-Rex was a little bit sort of like played down in that movie, and that couldn't be their big baddie. And so they went with a dinosaur that I had never heard of. You probably had. It sounded like you were that kind of kid.
Yes.
The Carnotaurus. Like, I really thought Disney made up, like, I'd never heard of some of the characters, and you and I talked about this a little bit on Ice Edge. I've never heard about some of those dinosaurs until we saw Jurassic Park with the velociraptors and things like that. And I know you said they kind of, like, saw into the future a little bit with that one, where they like the way they portrayed them and then what they found later. But I'd never heard of a velociraptor before that. I'd never heard of an iguanodon or a carnotaur before this. But you totally understood what those were.
Yeah, I knew what they were. I mean, I had the toy of the carnotaur and everything. So the carnotaur was discovered. It was first described in '84. So it was like when we were going into the late '80s, early '90s, dinosaur mania that kind of just took over everything, and like that's what I came up in was just everything dinosaurs all the time. So this was the new meat-eating dinosaur. This was the cool, sexy new theropod that everybody was talking about, and they really wanted to make it happen. And because T-Rex was so played out, they were like, well, let's just switch it over and make it a carnotaur, because this is the newest big, cool, meat-eating theropod dinosaur that everyone's going to be obsessed with. And it worked when they were pitching this. It was T-Rex, and then they were like, well, Jurassic Park killed that. So in the mid-'90s, when they were developing this, they switched over to Carnotaur because it was still having a moment. But the Carnotaur was ridiculous. Like, it looks ridiculous. It's got these dumb little arms and a big floppy head, and it just looks kind of like a teddy bear. Like, it's not like, that's what Disney did. That's what Disney made it look like. It's huge. I mean, they basically made a T-Rex with bull horns on the top of its head. The actual Carnotaur he's like a salamander with these little floppy arms that are even smaller than what a T-Rex had. Like, he's kind of ridiculous.
It's not
they took a lot of, yeah, it's that guy. Look at this plush. This is a stuffed animal. He's so sweet, and he's only slightly taller than I am. Like this thing is maybe 7-8 feet tall. It's not huge, so it's not really that intimidating. And like, if it starts coming after you and it's flapping its little arms like this, and trying to chase an iguanodon, it's not going to look like it's almost as big as an iguanodon. It's not going to be very terrifying. So they basically were like, well, everyone knows T-Rex, that's played out. Let's just make a T-Rex and call it something else. So this is a creation by Disney. There's a lot of stretching the scientific truth.
This is made up?
It is. It's basically a T-Rex. Like, they made it the size of a T-Rex.
InGen, if you think about it.
T-Rex. Almost, yeah. Fake dinosaurs. But, just like with InGen, like, I do want more teeth. I don't want to watch a Carnotaur run around. Like, I imagine, like, there's no science to back it up, but I imagine the Carnotaur is also just clumsy as hell, and he apologizes to the rocks when he trips on them. Like, he's just a teddy bear. He's too sweet. And that's not what you want for a main antagonist in your film. So they made a T-Rex, and they made it better. Like, that Carnotaur, I had the toy of the little puppet from McDonald's, the toy of the Carnotaur, and I still have that today because it was amazing. And that's
so
not
they were
what
like, we like the name of this, but that's still not our dino.
Yeah, that's not something that you
ride.
Want. I got that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, there was a lot of them. Obviously, they took liberties, but there was a lot of them that, like, I'd never heard of Iguanodon, I'd never heard of Carnotaurus, and when you go through the ride, and you've done the ride, right? You said you didn't do it this time because of your son, but I
didn't do it this time, but I've done it many times before.
Yeah. So in the ride, Dr. Seeker is going through and telling you, like, oh, that's what this is. This is this. This is this. My son has it memorized, like, as they go around. And he's like, still not our dino, but at least this one's a vegetarian. But with all of that said, the weird thing to me, and again, I said we talk about the ride at the end, but we're here, is that it doesn't follow this storyline of this attraction. And everything that I remember hearing was that, that the Imagineers would go see what the animators were up to, and vice versa, and they would kind of do this back and forth. And the attraction that opened up, that was originally called Countdown to Extinction, that then became Dinosaur, with the same, same font, the same everything. Yeah. It doesn't follow this at all. Like, you do go back and you are looking for Aladar, but it's not this story. And that's weird to me.
I think they, like, and this is, we're going to get down a rabbit hole, so stop me when you're bored. With dinosaurs, dinosaurs were around for, almost 200 million years. But all we ever think about is the asteroid that killed them. So if you're going to make a movie about dinosaurs in dinosaur times, you have to show the asteroid. So the film opens with the asteroid. If, like, scientifically, if he was there, if he saw it fall from that distance, he would have been vaporized. Not even like, oh, you can run from it. The air would have caught on fire and filled with vaporized gypsum, which is a mineral, and he would, like, his bones would have been cooked away. So just that aside. But also, we know that the major thing with the asteroid hitting is that it killed the dinosaurs. So they saw the asteroid hit, and then they were still like, oh, we should just go about our lives. Like, none of this matters because the asteroid just hit. You're all about to die. So, like, none of the stakes are real. This is what I had a problem with when I was a kid. I feel like the ride goes in the other direction where they're like, this is a huge moment. The asteroid is coming. It's going to kill them all. We need to save them in that moment. We have to get there. So they're like, even aside from the story, like the plot of how it moves forward, like the stakes are so different of, like, he saw the asteroid fall and he's still like, well, we're going to go find, the nesting grounds and whatever. And, like, that was a real rough Thursday, and now let's just move on with our lives because everything's going to be fun. And then the ride is like, the asteroid is coming, and the first iteration for Countdown to Extinction had the asteroid, like, flying towards you before they replaced it with the Carnotaur. It's like the whole thing is about that moment of everything is about to end. This is a big momentous occasion, and the film just kind of glossed over. Like, we have to show it, I guess, because that's the only thing we remember about dinosaurs. But, like, I don't understand how, if these two creative endeavors were being made by the same house at the same time, how were the stakes so different, and how did they not share notes, at least on what matters?
Yeah.
Like, it's very disjointed.
Most Disney attractions are about something that's gone horribly wrong. Unless it's the retelling of a story, something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And so, not just Disney, Universal does it too, but, Confrontation, you're just taking a nice cable car ride, and then, oh no, King Kong has been released on the city. So, that's kind of what Dinosaur is they're taking you on this adventure. You kind of get pushed into it because, Dr. Seeker sent you, and he's like, it's going to be fine. Just go do this for me real quick. It's not going to be a big deal. I'd go with you, but I can't. So, my ankle monitor, whatever. And so when they have that attraction, it could have been this. It could have been like, let's go along. But honestly, there's a lot of, like, unnecessary, for an hour and 22-minute movie, I feel like there's a lot of, like, downtime. The pacing is not there. And maybe if there was the stakes that you're talking about that were in the ride, maybe then the pacing would be worth it, and would help us to get it there and make it more memorable. Because again, like we said at the top, this thing made 300 million plus over worldwide, and then the video made another almost 200 million on the video. So it was like one of the top selling videos of that year. It was in the top 5 movies that year, and Gladiator was released that year. So it was one of those things where it had a lot of momentum there, but I don't think people give it, kind of like you did. You watched it, and then they don't give it the time of day anymore. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the technology was cool. There are times where I'm like, this is where it shows like it's not great. I think that with the lemurs, the fur was great. The faces, and they went all up in Yar's face a lot. The faces were not great. Same thing with Aladar in the rain. Like, the rain itself looked really cool. Like, the Carnotaurs outside of the cavern, or of the cave. Where was that in the ride? Like, that should have been in the ride. 2 Carnotaurs come in through the water. That would have been so cool. Like,
That
there's
was
so
the
many things we
best
could have done
sequence
there.
in the film.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been so good. But when Aladar and was it Bruton are in the cave and they're wet, it's like the animation doesn't, I think, hold up in that front. So technology-wise, had that going for it. The synergy, the push of the company, Disney, big year for Disney, all of that kind of stuff, and it did well. But just we're not talking about it. I mean, we are. We're talking about it, but I think most people are sad that the Dino Land's leaving. They're sad that the ride's leaving, but they probably didn't go back and watch this. And even if they knew that the movie was associated with the ride, how many people were like, "Hey, we're gonna go to ride Dinosaur one last time. Let's go ahead and watch the movie again." I don't know how many people did that.
I don't think it doesn't really have much to do with the ride. It's just in the same way, when we said goodbye to Splash Mountain, I didn't go and watch Splash with Daryl Hannah, even though that's, it shares a name, and that's reportedly what Eisner wanted to capitalize on it. But it has absolutely nothing
and
to
you
do
couldn't
with
get your hands
ride.
on Song of the South, so.
No, I got a copy. Don't worry about it.
Okay, all right. But we're talking about okay, so they had the moment with the asteroid, which, by the way, I joked about the movie The Good Dinosaur. I think it was the movie The Good Dinosaur, where like instead of the asteroid hitting, like the whole premise is the asteroid missed, and then like somehow dinosaurs became farmers. It was weird. So in this one, we have that the extinction event happen, but they're not extinct. Instead, they jump into the ocean, which probably like that's where the problem would have been in the ocean, right? Because that's where all of the okay. So they jump into the ocean, and then they
Yucatan Peninsula in the Gulf of Mexico, and all of the crater. So the asteroid was 9 miles across. The crater was 112 miles. So if he's clearly within 112 miles of that hitting. Like the air would have been on fire, and all of that water was vaporized. And even at that, even if he didn't immediately following that, like jumping in the ocean just means he would have been boiled to death. Like that's fine. That's probably a faster way to go.
Also, couldn't these raptors have gotten him pretty quickly?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like
even if they like he's got a monkey on his back. Like they're gonna pick off the monkey, even if they don't take down the iguanodon. They're gonna take the lemurs down easy.
Was it a philosophical monkey on his back, Charlie? Like, was it?
I think it was. I think that whole subplot had nothing to do with anything. That whole subplot was literally a monkey on his back that slowed down the film. You could cut out the first third of this film and just have him showing up to a new herd, and then just not have any of the monkeys, and been absolutely fine with it.
But that's what makes it the Jungle Book, Charlie. See, that's the other thing too. Is as I'm watching this, it's like Mowgli raised by the cubs, as opposed to Aladar being raised by the lemurs, or Tarzan being raised by the apes. Like it's that kind of a thing where it's like somebody outside your species who you think is going to be a menace to you, man cub or man or dinosaur, and you raise him in your herd, and he ends up being just a great fella. And then
it worked in The Lion King though. That was the same reasoning, and I think Tarzan worked with that because it was close enough where he can see the animal nature of man versus animals and stuff. Like I think that worked for it, and any of that or the same with the Lion King of like teaching him Hakuna Matata, any of those lessons, any of the reasons of why he was there or what we were doing would have been very helpful to give Aladar, because it feels like this subplot that they put in there was a different version of the script that they wanted to make, but they couldn't really figure out the reasons why. And so they just kind of left these vestiges, because the only thing that stayed through from Phil Tippett's 1986 pitch to the end is Surrey, the mammal. and it wasn't a lemur. It was just like a cynodont, like an early mammal
Yeah.
who was part of the Styracosaurus herd. So they just had to keep it through, and it doesn't need to be there anymore other than to explain here's how dinosaurs work. But Aladar was a neophyte, so he could have had here's how the herd worked. Like, it was all unnecessary. But once you get to that point where he joins the herd, it's a good film.
Is it? Here's I kind of is it, Charlie? I mean, like, again, when he maybe when he gets with the herd, the dino nerd in you goes, "Oh, from here on, I believe it." But when it's happening here, and you're talking about stakes, that moves the movie along. Whether it's a buddy cop or a road film or whatever it is, it moves along. This one, it does kind of move along, but to not an exciting conclusion, I feel like. But when this happens, I mean, I assume that the big Carnotaur like showdown at the end was supposed to be the climax, but it was very disjointed and vague, I feel like. But so
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, so the journey of the egg, let's start there. The journey of the egg that is Aladar, that scene I feel like was the trailer for this movie originally.
Yeah.
Where,
it was.
like, what happens with the egg and how it gets across and it goes through the water and all that. And it was to show off the animation, I'm sure. And that was like kind of the big opening there. And so the egg travels to, the Lemur Island where they find him, and he just happens to hatch right there. And by the way, that scene and the one where Aladar's kid is born, it feels like they crack open the egg. I'm like, aren't you supposed to not do that? Aren't you supposed to let them do that? Isn't that the way? Like, okay. So anyway,
Yes.
I don't know much about eggs, chickens, or dinosaurs, but I feel like you're supposed to let them push their way out of their own egg. Anyway, so when they get the egg, like, that whole journey is about seeing the beauty, but also is like how the egg gets lost and how we pick up with Aladar there. And then there's the whole Hakuna Matata montage where he goes from baby to actually without the montage, baby to giant Aladar, because they were like, oh, well, we'll teach him not to like meat. And then he's chasing the monkeys and eats one. And we're like, oh, everything went awry. But no, it really didn't, because he's just funning with them. It's just kind of like that, pinch you again, like, like, got it. So when they get through like that journey, okay, that we're seeing that move along. That's kind of the genesis of everything. Then it's oh no, it's mating season, and somebody's going to lose out apparently. And then after that, it's the meteor shower, and then they, in a panic, they leave, and everybody else is gone, but they survive, and then they're into the raptors, and that's a thing. So now, okay, we're moving, we're cooking, and then they get into the herd, and we don't know what's happening. There's a big thing of smoke, and then meh. I feel like, I mean, the Carnotaurs are there, and they send the scouts out as bait, basically, to bring them back. So that like brings in some more stakes, literally. But at the same time, I mean, they're just moving along. I don't know. You tell me why it gets good from here.
So I think it's good because it's just in the same way the opening sequence, like the opening 6 minutes of the film was the trailer, and it's just showing the beauty of the world of the dinosaurs. Like, there's no story, there's no talking. It's just, look at how cool this is. Like, dinosaurs, and I think especially for me, dinosaurs are just inherently cool. Like, I don't need him to talk. I don't need him to have a name. Like, that's an iguanodon. He has a thumb spike and a beak, and like, I don't need him to have an emotional arc. Like, this is just cool. Like, those are like just two ankylosaurs who are just arguing over something. Like, it's just cool seeing them go through and being picked up by the pteranodon or pterodactyl or whatever. Like, there's just seeing all the different species. It's just a cool moment. And I think it's the same thing with when they finally get connected to the herd, and they've got the old dinosaurs who are like giving him, the exposition and all that stuff and setting the rules of the world. But just moving through the world of like, we got to go through these badlands. We got to make it to the other side. And like, I've been trying to figure out where in the world they are, because these dinosaurs didn't all live in the same place or at the same time. That dinosaur, the Styracosaurus, was from the late Cretaceous, and the Brachiosaurus was from the Jurassic. And so this could have been anywhere. So, like, where are they trying to get to? Is this the edge of the Western Interior Seaway? Is they were saying something about, like, oh, there used to be water here, it's all drying up. And, like, in Fantasia, they handled that beautifully, of, like, watching all these dinosaurs plodding along, trying to outrace climate change at the end of the Mesozoic. They had all these little things here and there that I feel like they could have pulled on, but still it was nice to see, like, all right, we're moving, we gotta go, we gotta get water, we're being chased, so we can't stop. And now it's not just velociraptors, it's carnivores, and, like, because velociraptors can't do much to a herd, but carnivores totally can. And so, like, they just keep upping those stakes with everything other than the impending extinction of 90% of all life on the planet. Other than that, they keep upping the stakes.
But you said carnivores, but you mean Disney carnivores, not real carnivores.
Disney carnivores, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Real carnivores, they still probably could pick a couple of things off. I mean, they were still predators. They're just, it would be like if Pooh gets really hungry and there's no honey, eventually he's going to come after you. And that's kind of what I think about a carnivore is he's got those dumb little arms, and he looks like a salamander, and he's just going to wiggle his way over to you and apologize as he's eating you.
And this is what it looked like?
Yeah, look, it was not huge. That's not scary. That's slightly larger than an iguanodon is. They didn't live at the same time, so they would have never, met. But still, that's not, like, to do a real carnivore would not have been terrifying, which is why they had to make it basically a T-Rex.
So what is this?
And that's the same thing. It's just a different paleo artist. This looks almost like the lizard from Amazing Spider-Man. Like with the face, like, it looks a little weird, but
yeah.
It's not. I think they made the right call by making it menacing like that. That what you have on your shirt is more terrifying than what a real carnivore is.
Oh, this right here.
Yeah, right there.
Okay. Well, so there was another thing that I was looking at as we're talking about this, where I was talking about the animation, and sometimes it hits, sometimes it misses. This is a place where I feel like it missed. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of layering here, sort of. So they're on Aladar's back, but Aladar's back is, like, really sharp and detailed. They're a little fuzzy, and the dinosaurs in the back, I don't know. It just seems that part of it. I think here's where I feel like they fell short, is in shading and shadows. I think that's a place where they were still playing around light. Basically, light was still a problem for them. Really whether lit. It's the water and on their skin and how that was, I think that was still something they're playing around with. It
feels like, oh, let's just show off what we can do. Let's get an idea of what we've got and put it out there, and people are going to fall in love with it. And I don't know that they did. And I think that's, like we talked about, we did the Christmas Carol look on the plus side, and that was the same thing of, like, we're going to try this is a first effort, we're going to do our best, and hopefully people will fall in love. And it just didn't work because of the uncanny valley, and because it feels like a first effort. Even in 2000, like, it was impressive, but it was right around the same time as Walking with Dinosaurs, which is infinitely better than this, because that was tech driven, and this was, we need to make something and let's throw some tech at it. I think it came at it from a different point of view. They didn't have a story to begin with. They didn't have a tech to begin with. They just had a need for marketing. And I think that's where this film came from, and that was its ultimate downfall.
Okay, let's sidebar the story for a second. Talk about the cast for this one, because it's interesting. It's an interesting cast, and I feel like maybe, like, it's in the prism of 2000, like the year 2000. D.B. Sweeney is the voice of Aladar. Julianna Margulies is Nira. Samuel E. Wright as Crone. He was Sebastian. Like, that's, as soon as I see Samuel Wright, like, he was Sebastian. No way. Oh, you didn't know that?
I had no idea. I had no idea.
As soon as I see his name, that's the first thing that pops into my mind always, because he was I want to say he might have been Mufasa on Broadway, like. So
That's cool.
yeah, but Sebastian's the first thing that pops into my mind every time. So when I see him and like not hearing the Jamaican accent, but like seeing him be like the bully, the bad guy in this one, I thought was pretty interesting. Matt Casella was Zinni, and Matt Casella was on The Wonder Years, but he also like originated the role of Timon on Broadway. So that is again probably something that was going on around this time with them tying him into things.
That's fun.
Alfre Woodard is in this one. She plays Pleo, but she's also, I think, the narrator. I don't know that she's like. Yeah. So it opens up with her with the narration. I think that she is the narrator. Ossie Davis is in this one. Hayden Panettiere was Surrey. I don't know that she did a lot of early work, and I don't know that I would have known her from that. Joan Plowright, Disney legend. I don't know if she's officially a Disney legend, but in my mind, she's a Disney legend. And Della Reese were Baleen and Ema. And so they were the old ones that were at the back of the line. That's a lot of people. I mean, honestly, for this movie, I feel like that's pretty much like the main cast. You know who else was in this? And I don't see his name listed here, but I saw it in the end credits under additional voices. Billy West, who was the voice of Stimpy on Ren and Stimpy. And then when they fired John Kricfalusi, he was Ren and Stimpy. And then he's done a bunch of other stuff too. Yeah.
I didn't know he did both. Yeah, he did a couple other things, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, he's always going to be Stimpy to me. Yeah.
Oh, I always think of Fry. Futurama.
Okay.
I've seen Futurama all the way through 4 or 5 dozen times.
That's a good call. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so good cast in general. So I think that's pretty cool that they had the cast at the time. But again, pacing was the problem for me in this one, because even though it was an hour and 22 minutes, I'm not a dinosaur guy, and I was like, you know, so when that's happening for me, and it feels like that happens for me in The Happiest Millionaire when it's 3.5 hours or whatever, but I'm actually not as like that still had better pacing than this did, because there was stuff you were talking about stuff they could have removed and up the stakes and things like that along the way.
Yeah, the first third of the film they could have removed.
Yeah. Let me stop down at this point and say thank you guys for watching this. We appreciate it, and we're going to tell you in a little bit about the stuff that's coming up, and I'm very excited about our talk about like Dino Land coming up, and especially with our resident paleontologist here. But please, if you haven't already, give us a like, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do that. But Charlie, I have a few trivia questions for you. I almost didn't do trivia on this one because it's hard. It's
and I'm terrible at trivia.
Well, great.
I don't
That's
think
perfect.
I've ever.
Normally, it's things I notice in a show, and a lot of times it's a number here, or a sign, or a license plate, or a lot of things that just don't exist in this movie. So I was like, I'm not really sure, because like as I'm watching it, I'm always thinking like, is that something I should have recognized and noticed? And so in this particular case, there's a couple that are outside the box, but I feel like you're a smart enough guy that you're going to get most of these. So if you can buckle up for a second, here you go. So let's start with this one, which is it's a did you notice this sort of a thing. So Yar, who is voiced by Ossie Davis, who has since passed away. I think he passed away in 2005, so not long after this movie came out. Veteran actor, great actor. What color are Yar's eyes?
Blue?
That is correct. Now it's interesting to me because when the a lot of times they look bluish gray, but when the meteor shower happens and there's like a light, they kind of brighten up. But Pleo and Yar are side by side on that one, and her eyes are like yellow, and his are blue. And I'm like, does that happen in the lemur world? I don't know. Anyway, so blue is correct. What is his relationship, family tree-wise, to Aladar? What is he to Aladar?
He's his grandfather, adopted grandfather.
That is correct. Grandfather does it. I think that's kind of funny. When they get to the end and they get actually to the breeding ground, that's what we call it, the nesting ground.
Mm-hmm. Nesting ground.
Nesting.
Whatever.
So
It's the
when
red
they
room.
get to the, it's all made up anyway because they would have been dead, right? When they
Yeah.
get to the nesting ground, baleen. What kind of dinosaur is baleen, by the way? This is not trivia.
Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus. Tell me the difference between a brachiosaurus and a brontosaurus. Again, this is not trivia.
Okay, strap the hell in. So here we go.
We're gonna pause our trivia for
some
Dino Time
trivia.
with Charlie.
So, Brontosaurus was not a real dinosaur. It was an amalgam of 3 or 4 other dinosaurs that was put together in the early 20s when they were just finding individual bones. A lot of dinosaurs that we know about that we have action figures of are known from only a single specimen. And this was my problem with Jurassic Park 3 because they only had one specimen of a part of its jaw and a piece of the spine for the Spinosaurus. So how could you know enough about it? It's going to take down T-Rex. It was a whole thing. I still have problems with Jack Horner about that. But the Brontosaurus in the 1920s was kind of put together from a bunch of different things. It had the skull of an Apatosaurus. It had several vertebrae from the Brachiosaurus. It had part of, I think, a Diplodocus. All these different sauropods that put it together. But it was one of the earlier dinosaurs to be described. So, like, if you know any dinosaurs, you know T-Rex, you know Brontosaurus, and you know Triceratops, and maybe Stegosaurus. All the other, like Triceratops had its own journey that it's actually closer to a Styracosaurus or something like that. But the Brontosaurus was not a thing. So for years we've been told this is a Brontosaurus, and we have toys of it and everything, but it's not a real dinosaur. It was a weird amalgam until I want to say like 2008, 2010, somewhere in there. Somebody found a dinosaur that coincidentally looked like a Brontosaurus. It was an offshoot of an Apatosaurid, and he grew up as a dinosaur kid. He knew Brontosaurus, so he named that dinosaur Brontosaurus. When he discovered it and got to name the genus, he named it Brontosaurus because that's what he grew up with. So he retroactively made Brontosaurus a real animal. So now there is a real one, but it's only in the last, 15 years or so. So
I was about to say,
a Brachiosaurus.
What was Fred Flintstone eating with those Bronto burgers then?
That was at the time when everybody still didn't know what was going on. And like in the 60s, it still word hadn't gotten out because we didn't have the internet and there weren't enough people like me on podcasts telling everyone that Brontosaurus wasn't real.
There's still not enough people like you on podcasts. I'm going to stand by that. I'm just going to stand by that.
Yeah, I feel like I should be doing the tours. But what's her name? Baleen is a Brachiosaurus, which is a dinosaur from the late Jurassic. And the way you can tell it's Brachiosaurus always is it's got the upright neck like this, and it's got a little nose on top of its head, as opposed to most other long necks are out like this. So like a Diplodocus or an Apatosaurus is all the way long. The Brachiosaurus was up like this. It was one of only 3 or 4 sauropods that are vertical like that.
Well, there you go. So then the question is that Baleen, who was the Brachiosaurus, Zinni jumps into the water and she says something and then jumps into the water too. What's the word she says before she jumps in?
Cowabunga?
Amateur.
That's my Ninja Turtles coming out. I have no idea.
Yeah, it was amateur. Legitimately,
Oh,
that was that was the answer. It was amateur.
And then she jumps in and makes a bigger splash.
Yeah, and then she jumps in.
Cute.
D.B. Sweeney was the voice of Aladar. He also was a voice in another Disney movie. What other Disney movie was he a voice in?
Oh, animated. Man. Is it one of the Goofy movies?
No, that is incorrect.
Okay.
It is a Disney full-length animated feature, which the Goofy movies were both direct to
Well,
video of
Goofy
it.
movie was full length.
But it wasn't a Disney full length animated feature. It was like Toon Disney. It was not. It's not considered a
Really?
full length. Yeah, it's not considered a full
Hmm.
length animated feature. It's not
That is
canon.
also a fun fact. I
Well,
have
if you
no
had
idea.
watched our review of the Goofy movie, you would already know that.
I have no idea.
He was in Brother Bear. He was one of Kenai's
Oh, no
brothers.
way. He was Kenai?
No, Kenai was Joaquin Phoenix. No, he was one of Kenai's
Oh,
brothers.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he was Sitka.
Oh, okay.
There you go. But anyway, that was that one. So
Namesake of the town.
there you go. All right. So this is your final question. And again, it
Okay.
is not from the movie necessarily, but it is about the movie. This is the fourth Walt Disney Animation Studio film at the time to not have humans in it at the time. What were just two of the three that preceded it?
Don't have humans. And so this is any of the previous animated movies?
Correct. Anything pre 2000
Okay.
Disney full
Robin
length animated
Hood.
feature. Yep.
Robin Hood is one. Uh, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this one.
Okay.
Um,
Oh man, it's very exciting. Do you want a
this
hint?
is yeah. Give me a hint.
It's something you've mentioned during this review.
Already?
You've said the name of this
I've
movie.
mentioned a lot.
I know,
I've,
but this
I've
is
mentioned a lot.
a full length animated feature that you named.
No,
The
I
Lion
know
King.
everybody's accustomed. Oh, okay.
You know what the third one is, and I would almost argue with this, but this was something that I found is Bambi. Because in Bambi you don't see the hunter, but there is a hunter, and they say man was in
I
the
mean,
forest. So
yeah,
man is
yeah,
present, but
but
he's not in it.
well, but like, what about Great Mouse Detective? They don't show a human. Like, they have a shadow of a human, and we know they're around. But like, that's why because I went to Great Mouse
I feel
Detective,
like
but
you
I was
see
like,
people
no,
walking the streets of London as we go down to Basil's like hole. Don't make me look that up,
maybe,
but I'm just saying.
maybe.
Yeah.
That's
So
a good trivia question. That was a
thank you.
good
I
trivia
appreciate it.
question.
Yeah. All right. So thank you for playing along. Thank you guys for playing along. We appreciate it. And I don't know. This has become a tradition to ask 5 questions during this thing. And again, my son does
Hmm.
another show on here. If you're interested in it, we've got him on here. That is Hakuna Trivia, where he asks. He gets 3 volunteers, and they battle against each other and the chat. And he does that show once a month on here on Friday nights. So you can check out the
That's
old
cool.
episodes. And we've got another one coming up end of February. So it'll be pretty fun. All right. So let's get back to this because, again, we talked about the animation. We talked about the cast. And we talked a lot about the story and then a lot about dinosaurs. But we didn't really talk about the music. Now, the music was James Newton Howard. Am I saying his
Hmm.
name right, or do I have it in the reverse order?
No, James Newton Howard, you're right.
Yeah. So James Newton Howard and a couple others did the orchestration. What struck me as I'm watching the end credits that I was surprised about is La Boheme, who did music inspired by The Lion King, and then did extra songs that were in The Lion King, the Broadway, like
Hmm.
He Lives in You. And
Yeah.
and he actually was, when they did the Mufasa reveal at D23, he was there on stage, which blew me away. Did some of the what they call vocalizations for this. So there's a lot of it that's sort of like, kind of tribal, spiritual, like like ethereal in here that he did the vocalizations for. So I thought it was interesting that he was part of that. But you know,
Yeah.
I don't recognize this. Like when I hear da na 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 na, like Jurassic Park, and John Williams' music is amazing.
Yeah.
And when we talk about anthems, Pirates, for instance, that a dun dun da da dun, like I hear it, I know it. Avengers Campus, all of that stuff. I don't know this. I don't go,
Yeah.
Dinosaur.
Yeah, I don't think it has an identifiable theme like that. Like, even having just watched it recently, and I'm sure you were looking for it, I can recognize, like, oh, I know this from Animal Kingdom background music loops and stuff, you know? But
Right.
that's like, because that's the background music we have in our house every day, is just Disney Parks background loops of like, oh, this sounds like Animal Kingdom. But I associate it more with Animal Kingdom than I associate it with this film. Because, you know, I know it's from this film, but you probably have heard it in the parks more than you've heard it watching this movie. There's nothing really identifiable. It didn't have the cultural legs to really take off the way Pirates did, and you know, all these other, like Jurassic Park. Even if you haven't seen the film, if you're like the last person on earth who hasn't seen Jurassic Park, you probably would recognize the music that it's from that, you know, because it became a cultural moment in a way that Dinosaur never did.
Yeah, there you go. This movie, do you think PG works with it? Is it too intense? Should it have been G? Like,
No, I think
did your
PG works.
kids watch it?
No. My younger son is way into dinosaurs right now, which just makes me so happy and so proud. And this is his dinosaur mask. I had to ask him if I could borrow it because we went to like some dinosaur thing, and he wanted to be a Casey-saur. And so like he let me borrow it for this podcast. He's so into dinosaurs, but it's still, you know, it's scary. It's like, I saw Jurassic Park in the theater when it came out when I was 3, and everybody was so amazed that I wasn't afraid of the dinosaurs. And it's like, well, dinosaurs eat things. That's what they do, and I'm sorry to inform you of that. Like, I'm 3, I shouldn't be telling you this. So
did you
like,
say to them, I'm sorry to inform you of that at 3? Probably. That's probably a
probably, yeah. And like, you know, with all of the salt that I could muster as a 3-year-old, but like, it has never bothered me. It's never struck me as off-putting of like, that's just a dinosaur trying to eat, you know, just the same as a lion or me or anything else. Like, it's just got to eat. It's not scary. But my younger son, who, as much as he's into dinosaurs, he's still kind of afraid of them. They are kind of scary. And I gotta say, I think the scariest thing I can imagine is being face to face with a T-Rex. Like, there's the ride at Universal Studios in Hollywood, the Jurassic World ride. And when the Indominus Rex comes walking out over you, and he's life size, just slightly larger than a T-Rex would be, there's just something visceral about it. To be confronted with that in real life is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
So I think PG works, but at the same time, you know, like, it's just animals, and like, you can get over it. It's fine. So I think PG is that nice middle of the road. It doesn't need to be PG-13, but it's definitely not G.
And I'm waiting for the part where he catches up. This part right here, we get smoke or dust. Like, it's covered. The attack itself is covered in the dirt, and the dust blow up, which is not accidental, obviously. They didn't want you to see something horrible here, right? Same thing with like when Crone is, you know, thrown by the Carnotaurus, you know, that also, like, we don't really see like gushing of blood or anything like that.
Yeah. So I think PG is appropriate.
Okay. Anything else so basically the way that this ends is they get cornered into a cave from the 2 Carnotaurs, which, again, like I said, that scary scene with the water coming down and them walking through should have been, like, I can picture it in that ride coming from the side with the waterfall and the Carnotaurs coming out slowly, or like sticking their noses out. Ooh, that would have been so good. They really missed an opportunity there. A lot of times I'll watch a movie and I'll think, oh, how would this look in a ride, or how could this be? That was totally missed. But So they're in the tunnel or the cave, and then they're blocked in, and so their only way out is through the back. Oh my gosh, we're at the nesting grounds. It's like, this is where we wanted to be all along. And they're like, oh, it's so great here. Wait a minute, the entrance that we normally come through is blocked. Well, I mean, how many times have we been driving down the 405 and then we find that, right? So so it's all blocked and they can't get through it. So Aladar is like, I got to go back and save the group. And they're like, well, Crone's not going to like that. And he's like, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway because I love Nira, because I don't know, I just met her. So he goes back in. We
spoke once.
Yeah, exactly. So he goes back in to find them, says, hey, come with me. Crone's like, no, we're going up the hill. Let me send the little ones first. Then the Carnotaurs end up like, or the one Carnotaur ends up like boxing them in, and then he's got to like, we stand together, kind of like the ants in Bug's Life. And then and then they end up killing the Carnotaur, but they also end up killing Crone, and then everybody else gets led back in, and they have a fast forward to Nira and Aladar are married and paired and have a baby, and he's just like Dad, a chip off the old block, and happily ever after. I mean, no, they don't go extinct. They live forever.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah. Yeah, like, and I think that's like, especially with it's not the opening sequence, but it's definitely the beginning of the action, the call to adventure of where they're thrust off of their island, is the KT extinction, or the KPG extinction. They changed the term of it, and it just bothers me. I'm not going to go down that road. The KPG extinction that killed off most animals over the size of a small cat, you know, that seems like it warrants a moment to deal with, and they just kind of graze past it, where it's like, literally, if you don't include that, it changes nothing. And I kind of feel like that's the mark of any film, of like, if you can take it out and it doesn't change the plot, then don't have it in there. You know, it's unnecessary. So with this, like, an asteroid hit the Earth. They're all about to die imminently, not in the future, imminently. They're about to die. So how are we fast forwarding through a gestation period for these eggs and all this, and just completely ignoring the fact that this happened? Like, from a storytelling, you know, you live within the world you create. They've created a world that's about to die. Why are we not dealing with that? So everything that happens after that, and this was the major problem I had with it when I was a kid, is like, all of this is just folly. It's a waste of time. And that's why I didn't like it. I think going back of like, it's a kid's movie, whatever. They don't need to know, especially as I'm trying to explain certain things to both of my kids, of like, you don't need to know the nitty gritty, you know, like, this is a T-Rex. And like, my youngest son calls every dinosaur a T-Rex. Like, this is a Parasaurolophus T-Rex, but it is a T-Rex. Yeah. I don't need to correct him right now. We don't need to get into the nitty gritty. We don't need to bother with it. So if we got just a cool action sequence and then we just kind of ignore it, like, whatever, it's a kid's film. So I'm a lot more forgiving of it now as a dad than I was as a kid who wanted to be a paleontologist. But it does, like, from a storytelling point of view, kind of negates the whole thing.
So you're saying they're not going to make it? They're not going to make it.
They're not going to make it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of references to that ride we can make.
Well, you know what? We had a conversation about that, and let's get back to the ride a little bit before we do final thoughts here. We had a lot of conversations about that on our Park Adventurers Club, which we do every Sunday night. We're going to be doing that this Sunday night with you, talking about Dino Land and kind of like giving our goodbye to Dino Land USA. Mm-hmm. But we talked a lot about a lot of the things that are leaving are the things that we quote all the time. We always quote the Muppet Vision movie.
Yeah.
Always. Like, we always do. It's like, that's just a thing that we do in my family and with friends. That's like a thing that we do. We always quote the Dinosaur ride, the pre-show, the ride itself. And these are things now that are like gone forever. There's a lot of these
Yeah.
that just like, we quote the Soren intro that still exists. Like, nice work, pal. Like things like that.
Yeah.
We don't have the original test track anymore. We don't have so many of the things that we like, kind of grew up with of these big pre-shows. And somebody was like, oh, that's gone. They don't do that anymore at Disney. Well, that's not true, because if you've ever ridden Flight of Passage, like that's got a whole thing too. And people quote the Sivak Go and Fly. Like that's a thing that people,
Yeah.
there are winners, there are losers. Who are you, from Tron? Like there are things like that people still
Yeah.
like hear all the time and are going to quote. But I do think that we're going to miss Muppet Vision pre-show and show. We're going to miss the Dinosaur pre-show. A lot of those that we do quote all the time. But it was fun.
But I think it's a difference in interest, but also in generations. Like I was in Florida recently, and I had never been on Guardians Cosmic Rewind. And so this was my first time, and I've seen it online, and I covered it for a website I worked for a little while. So like I was familiar with it. I've seen the pre-show.
Does anybody know what they call themselves?
What?
That's what Terry Crews says.
And that's, yeah, like I've heard all those bits, but I haven't lived with it enough, I think, because I'm on the West Coast. I haven't lived with it enough. But when I went there and went on it, people were calling out like it was Rocky Horror, like people were like, are you serious? I'm real serious about this. Like, these call and response things. So I think, but everybody who was doing it in the crowd we went through with, everybody who's doing it is, younger 20 somethings. Like this is their time. These are the rides that they're going to remember. And this is in the same way,
it's our time down here.
Like we're kind of going through it. We're going to remember, like I've talked to a bunch of people who remember Horizons, and I can hold my own, but I don't have that same connection to it that they had.
If you can dream it, you can do.
Yeah, like I know it from YouTube. I don't know it from living it. And just the same, these kids who are now, gonna know the Villain's Land or whatever else they're making, this is their time, and they're not gonna know. Like when I say 7, yeah, 7. Like they're not gonna get it. Just the same as I don't understand why they're saying 6, 7. It's just a difference in generation. Everybody has their own thing, but ours are starting to go the way of Horizons, and we're always going to look back on it and remember it fondly. Well, not that Dinosaur is as good as Horizons, but it's going to hold that place in my heart. It's going to have those references and Muppet Vision and all that stuff. Like, eventually people are going to forget Splash Mountain in the way.
And Rock and Roller Coaster is the other
way.
one that I meant to say too.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, make it a stretch. Make it a super stretch. Wait a minute, I love that idea.
Like, there's so many little things like that are for these super intense nerd groups like us that we're going to miss, that we're going to know. But there's always a new group of super nerds who have, who are going to take it over, and it's going to be their time. So I'm okay with that. And I hope that I don't get 6, 7, but I hope I'll get whatever the reference is that they're going to put in Indiana Jones. Like, the references they put in Guardians that harken back to the universe of energy and stuff was like, oh, that's cool. I get the through line. That's kind of nice, so I'm okay to see it go.
There was a meme that I saw once that says she's a 10, but she quotes the Haunted Mansion pre-show out loud.
Oh yeah. That's
one of those
what
things.
makes her a 10.
It's like, it's so over at this point that you want people to just enjoy it and now. And so again, if you're out there and you're one of the people quoting the stretching room as you're in the stretching room, you probably shouldn't. You just probably shouldn't, because we know you know it. We all know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We all know it. Is this room actually stretching? The other thing that like I love is when they do overlays, and the overlay is a little bit different, because I don't know the Nightmare Before Christmas one as much as I do know the Haunted Mansion, but like,
man.
I do love that overlay. La 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 la. Like,
yeah, that's the one that we quote to each other. My wife is a huge goth, and so that's the one that we quote all the time. Like the way you talk about Muppet Vision,
Yeah.
that's what we are for
I did
Sleepy
it.
Hollow and Nightmare Before Christmas.
I did no. The movie Nightmare Before Christmas is my jam. The show, the
The
overlay
Haunted
on
Mansion
the Haunted
Holiday.
Mansion, I love that so much, and I did it
Yeah.
5 times in one night once, and would go back and do it again and again and again. But I love that it exists, but I love that it exists for a limited time, and then they
Yeah.
put the regular mansion back. It makes it like there are 2 rides depending on when you go. Same thing with Hyperspace
Yeah.
Mountain and Space Mountain. Same thing. All right.
Yeah,
Anything else?
and Ghost Galaxy.
I never did Ghost Galaxy. Don't even.
Oh,
I don't even know. Stop. Because
okay.
I can't do it
This is
now,
for
so it's fine.
This
Yeah,
is
it's
for a
fine.
different show.
Yeah.
It's
All right. So,
Oh.
anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up? Before we give final thoughts on this, anything else?
No,
Like
I want to do a teaser for Sunday because I'm leaving a lot on the table here. I'm leaving a lot, like from dinosaur knowledge. There's that, like we could go. I've literally got. I have a file of dinosaur facts that I pulled up just in doing research on this. Yeah, this. I, I don't know why I sent this one to you. This is I made this when I went to Florida and they were like, "Oh, this is a dig site meals at Restaurantosaurus," and I was like, "Nope." And I sent this to my partner at the time because he and I were out on digs. This is when I was working as a paleontologist, and so I sent this to my buddy Sal because you never get good warm food. Like if you're incredibly lucky and you're in the city somewhere and they pull up a food truck, you'll get something hot. But for the most part, it's peanut butter, warm tuna sandwiches, like all that. But anyway, when we go on Sunday, we're going to do the parks show, and I've got so much more to say about Dinosaur. There is a hidden reference in the Dinosaur ride to a period of the American West's history where 2 rival paleontologists dynamited each other's claims and named poop fossils after each other, and it's called the Bone Wars. It's fantastic, and I'm going to take a while to talk about this as a farewell to the attraction. It didn't come up tonight, but don't miss it on Sunday because I'm going to go really deep into some of the actual dinosaur references, not Dinosaur the movie, but like dinosaur history, paleontology history references on Sunday. So that's what I want to plug.
Well, we are going to be in for it. It sounds like
It's going to be
definitely
fun.
want to talk about Dinoland USA in general, because yes, the last vestiges, and we've said vestiges like 6 times on this
Yes.
this podcast, but the last vestiges of Dinoland just closed. But there's a lot to talk about and unpack about Dinoland USA in general,
Yeah.
what it meant to the original animal kingdom, what we're going to miss, that kind of stuff. So, I know that Charlie's going to like flood us with dino knowledge, but and I'm looking forward to a lot of those Easter eggs and things. I expect that you probably walked around the Restaurantosaurus and picked up a ton of information as you walk through and looked
Oh,
at things in there.
absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and
I'm looking
I took
forward to all
pictures
that.
of all the walls and everything. It's that was the best part of the land for me.
Nice. Well, we'll probably just focus on that for our park show this coming Sunday night. So we hope that you'll join us for that. This Friday night, I'm hoping to get Patrick on and us talk about, do a live show to talk about more card openings. We did last Friday night, we did Lorcana card openings. A while ago, we did some Disney Chrome cards. And I'm hoping that we can do more Disney Chrome cards this Friday. If not, we'll do something else this Friday, but that's what we're planning on doing. So please join us for that live Friday night at 9 p.m. And then Sunday night, join us at 8:30 for Charlie, Stephanie, and myself talking about Dinoland USA, our fond farewell to Dinoland in general on Sunday night. And then next Wednesday night, man, you thought this was intense. Tyler Mann returns again to talk about the treasures of Matukambe. Makambe? Is that how you pronounce it?
I have no idea what we're talking about.
He looked through Disney Plus and tried to find the most horrific thing he could possibly find. So we have to watch it now. The Treasures of Matecumbe, Matecumbe. We'll know how to pronounce it by then. I've never watched it. He's going to watch it. We're going to watch it. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be epic. Last Wednesday night we did a watch along of Disneyland Handcrafted, which was a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys will join us for all of this stuff. And a big shout out to everybody from our pack. We love the pack, our Park Adventurers Club. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to patreon.com/GoPack. We have a Discord that we hang out with everybody in. So please come join us, have some fun with us. Special thanks to our Zebra Mezzanine and Treasure Room supporters. And I see Charlie is rocking his Park Adventurers Club sticker. You can get one of those
right here
for joining the pack. So we appreciate that. But Charlie, now is the time. Now is the best time, because I'm going to ask you this question. You're like the resident paleontologist in your area. Your friends know that you're a Disney fan. If they come to you and say, "Look, Charlie, we know you know dinosaurs, and we know you know Disney. We were looking at Disney Plus, and we saw this dinosaur movie. I don't know what that's all about." The question at hand, not 10-year-old Charlie, but modern day Charlie, would you recommend this movie?
I would. I think 10-year-old Charlie would have said absolutely not, and up until last week, I would have said absolutely not. If I hadn't been forced into this against my will, I probably would have never seen this film again. But I'm glad I did. If you take it with a grain of salt and don't take it too seriously, if you just understand it's a kid's film, kind of like Land Before Time, but with less heart. Like, it's just fun. It's beautiful. It's, it's not great. It's not a great film. It's not one of the Disney classics, but it's still worth a watch. If nothing else, just for, like, if you lived through the year 2000, you remember that everything kind of looked like this. It's just a nice nostalgia trip. And overall, the film is, like, other than the first third, the film is fine. Like, it's a fun ride. And it's beautiful to watch. So I would recommend this with a grain of salt.
Okay. Well, I would say if you're a Disney Parks fan and you ever rode Dinosaur and you didn't know this movie was associated with it, you should watch it. Aladar is in this. That's why they go back for an iguanodon. It was originally designed, or the thought process was that these two things would exist together. For a Disney Parks fan, I would recommend you watch it. Honestly, though, for somebody who is not big into Disney Parks fans, I'm not sure I would recommend it, Charlie, because it's so slow in some of those things, and it just seems like I said, like, we have the stakes at the beginning, and then we kind of like fall off the stakes, and then we have this ending where it's a little sappy sweet ending. So I honestly, I'm not sure I would recommend it unless you're a Disney Parks fan. And if you are, I feel like it's required watching to know what you missed out on from Dino Land. Now, it doesn't exist anymore, so it's not like you're going to watch it in preparation to go. But to know and really understand what the dinosaur attraction was all about, it would be great to watch. And but let us know in the comments what you think. You may have been a kid the same age as Charlie, but not as like into the inconsistencies of this, and you may have really loved this. So just tell us that in the comments and let us know. But Charlie, thanks for being on. I appreciate it. I love getting in depth with your dino knowledge. I can't wait to have a dynamite time with you on Sunday night. Get ready for lots of puns just like that one. We'll enjoy all of that, and thank you guys for watching. We hope you have a great week. We hope to see you Friday, and if not, maybe Sunday night for the park show. And if not, we'll see you next Wednesday night for another look on the plus side. Have a great one.